Bucks is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's tend to be Mark Rosen here as well. You made your triumphant return to the barn last night.
I did, yeah. We knew that against long odds that the Gopher women were going to be up against one of the top teams in the country. I think
number
they had lost.
3? Was
yeah,
UC number
I think
3
UCLA number 3. I think they've lost only once. We, as they say, we looked it up when we were watching the UCLA Bruins do what they've done pretty much all year. I think they lost to Texas earlier in the year, but they got weapons everywhere, and in particular inside. The Gophers had a lot of trouble against the tall trees inside, especially the 6'7" center for the Bruins. And then she sat for a while, and then brought someone else in who was like 6'4" or something. But they're not
get richer.
It's not just that's not all they do. Their ball movement was good. I mean, the Gophers they have a nice team. And look at the standings. They've won some good games. They play well together as a team. They don't have the depth. They don't have necessarily the star power. Mar Braun, that's her name, right? She's a good player.
She's got talent.
She's got a good outside shot. She runs the floor well, and they got another player too. But against the elite teams in college basketball, they're not going to probably fare as well. But you hope they learn from the experience, and that's about it. But yeah, it was a fun atmosphere there last night, and always good to be back in the old barn, as they say.
Yeah, well, more importantly, I just want to know, did people want to come and touch the hem of your garment, say hi to Mark
Rebecca
Rosen?
Brunson was sitting right in front of us, which was nice to see her there.
Any other stars?
Guardsy was waving up. I don't think he saw me.
Oh, Guardsy was there.
Well, he's doing the play-by-play.
Right.
Yeah. He's up in the the first row of the rafters of
Is
the
he
second.
still doing that?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, he's still doing it. Yeah, doing a fine job. No, I saw some people I knew, but nothing, no big star power. In fact, I think they were missing, they had the band there, but I think they're cheerleaders and something, they're in a national competition out east, so they weren't there last night. Okay. That's probably why they lost.
You could have led cheers.
They still have the same.
You've always been a cheerleader for that Gopher program.
I've always,
You've supported them.
It brings back a flood of memories. I was telling Karn about it, just that the courtside seats they have now, that used to be the media seats across the court from where we were sitting, from the benches, they now sell at a premium, much the way that, and I understand that, but that's where
Sound a little bitter about it.
Not at all. Okay. No, and I wasn't a medium. I was there with tickets that we had, and but that's the old days where my seat would be near Sid's or whatever, and Sid would know all the officials by first name. I think I mentioned it. He'd be yelling at them during the game, and they'd yell right back at him. Shut up, Sid.
Listen here now.
I tell you something. Bobby, what's his name? Valentine was his name. You shouldn't be refereeing high school basketball. You should be in Pee-wees. Yeah. He'd be yelling at him about that. He'd be like literally
my favorite,
the officials.
My favorite was, this is when I used to go to games back in the mid-'90s, and Sid would be in the football press box at Vikings game berating people for leaving early.
God.
I mean, literally stand screaming, where are you going? The game ain't over yet. Well, no, look at the scoreboard. It's over.
Right.
We have no interest in watching the rest of this blowout. So.
But I mean, it's also not just the men's teams. I was talking to Karn about it. I mean, it does. You flash back, and I think one of my most enjoyable years was the Final Four year for the women with Lindsay Whalen and Janelle McCarville and that whole group that ended up. I think they beat UCLA in one of the games at Williams Arena that they hosted. Then went on to the Final Four and made it to the finals, and that was a fun time. Pam Borton was the head coach, and Shannon Schoenrock, and I can't remember the rest of the names they had on that team.
Hell of a club.
Shannon Bolden,
yes. But Whalen and McCarville in particular were wonderful to watch, and the enthusiasm of the fans during that particular year was just off the charts. So you kind of hope that they can strike gold again at some point and get the next kind of, the Paige Beckers of the world, to someone to commit to Minnesota and to get that, that status up again, because I think the fans certainly support women's basketball in this town, and we've seen that with the Lynx. And I think they have an opportunity if they can continue to kind of move the needle a little bit here and there.
Yeah,
it was fun. Yeah, we had a good time.
Going back to the Gopher men's loss the other night to Wisconsin. I had someone, we talked about how nice of a job. Medved's a good coach. We can see that.
Yeah, you can tell
how he coaches the game. And then a friend of mine who's close to the Gopher program said, he goes, yeah, but comparing Ben and Medved is apples and oranges. He says if you look at the difference in nil money, there's significantly more this year than there was last year. My friend's a big supporter of Ben, and I don't doubt that. But in Ben's a fine coach. I don't think Ben's a bad coach. But when you got a guy that's coaching, is this his fifth different head coaching job? I think it's 5 now.
For Medved?
For Medved.
I'm not sure.
I think it's 5.
Pretty close.
I think it's 5. And in each place he won. So that's not to say that experience, wipes everything, is the be all end all. But and maybe Ben didn't get with the nil, or maybe didn't get as good a chance, or whatever the case may be. But what we've seen from Medved so far, with who he's been able to get out of the portal, he brought one of these CSU kids with him, who's a really talented kid. And it's just hard to argue with the results so far. I mean, I know they're not winning every game, but it seems like most games they're in. Wisconsin just beat number 2 Michigan on the road.
Yeah.
So that's a really good Wisconsin team.
Yeah.
And the guard character, the not JG, but the coach for Wisconsin, right after the game, he had nothing but praise for. And a lot of guys I know do that when they're pushed to the limit. It's like, boy, that guy's always got his team ready. They like to do that. But I think he meant it when he said he's got he has those kids playing. He knows how to coach basketball.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate they lost their starting point guard at the beginning of the year and they lost one other player.
Yeah, they lost 2 players.
2 players, not for a week or two. I mean, for the season. And awesome. So they're really kind of going through it with a lack of depth, which can hurt them a lot. But I love the way they play. And look at Mark Hoyle hired Ben John. I mean, Ben was, he didn't have a head coaching experience. It took a flyer on him. I love being around him. He knows his stuff, but it just was a lot of obstacles to overcome, including the nil money or lack thereof, the kind of players he had, and it just didn't work out. And they had to make a change probably sooner than later, and to try to get going and get competitive again. And I think in time, we'll see Nico even make more strides with the program. And the people are responding. And yeah, unfortunately they lost. And give Wisconsin credit, they made the big shot at the end, and our guy Carrington made the big. He made more than a couple 3-pointers.
Made 7.
Yeah, and he hasn't been making very many of them.
No, that's his best game as a collegiate player. Quite frankly, just call it as it is. When he played for the Gophers, he wasn't any good at all.
He wasn't very good.
I was telling somebody this. And maybe it was you on the air. I don't know. Sometimes I think it was JG off air. Mm-hmm. Kids that I watched played Minnesota when Pete played. Carrington. Pete was a teammate of Osama, when they played for Sizzle, AAU basketball. Right. Pete played against Nolan Winter, blah, blah, blah. And you watch these kids play, and then you see them in their first year of college, and you start going, man, maybe they aren't as good as I thought they were. But being a freshman on a college basketball team, when you're getting, the minutes you're played sparingly, there's not, and it's just the more you play, the better you get. Like right now, Winter's a really good player.
Yeah,
He's had 7 double-doubles now. He does a lot of little things. The Carrington, like I say, that's not the kid I watched play for the Gophers. He was really good. So it's funny, the more experience you get in the because in the Big Ten's a tough place to play. It just is.
Always has been.
Even like when Holloman, Jiggy Traw came out of a CDH, his first year or two with Michigan State, he really struggled. And then last year he played really, really well until that final NCAA game where I think he went 0-7. And now he's down playing for Texas A&M. I think he's been, North Carolina State. I think he's been battling some injuries, but he's become a better player too. So it's like, Minnesota does have a lot of kids that are playing really, really well right now across the country.
Well, that's been the case for a long time in terms of, we know the talent pool here runs deep and it has been.
and Holmgren and many others.
Oh my goodness. You look going back to Khalid El Amin, and even before that, with going back, you could go way back to McHale and Randy Brewer and those guys. But even they were kind of isolated in terms, of the kind of that talent level. And now they're just the numbers. You have, some better players that go elsewhere, unfortunately, but try to keep as many as you can here. And I think that Nico's got an opportunity to build a nice program here. But, it's all about year by year. There's no way of knowing what the future holds, because it's not like it used to be where you go, hey, I got Asama coming back, and I got so-and-so coming back. I got all these guys coming back, and you go, you don't know that.
Right.
That's the problem. You don't know that till the season's over, and then teams make offers to have you come to their school.
Yeah, because, some kids, here's another kid, Kendall Blue, played for, Pete was his teammate at Eastridge. Really good player, 6'6", can shoot, score, play defense, the whole thing. So he goes to St. Thomas for a couple of years and plays really well. Now, he's at Nebraska right now. He can't see the floor. And he's a junior, and or maybe he's even, I don't think he's a senior, I think he's a junior. He can't see the floor because Nebraska is, they were 8th in the latest poll. They'll probably go up a spot because they won again. They've not lost a game under Hoiberg. They're like, I don't know what their record is now, but they've not lost a game. They're 16-0, I think, now. And so, so as good as he was and as much playing time he was getting, he can't even get up. But the rumor was, and I don't have this for sure, but somebody I know that I trust thinks Kendall is getting $400,000, and he's riding the pine. So you can't blame a kid, can you, to say, hey, I like being in Minnesota. I played under Johnny Tower. It's been a great experience. But, man, when all of a sudden a school says, hey, would you like to come to Lincoln? What for? Play basketball. Really? Yeah, $400,000. I've always loved Lincoln. Can't wait to get there. Go Huskers. Go Big Reds. So,
I got to admit, I didn't. When you said that, I went, wait, Nebraska's they're 17-0.
17-0. Oh, Hoiberg got him playing basketball.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's that's and they've beaten some quality clubs too.
That's Nebraska, Purdue, and Michigan right now. The king of the hills. Yeah.
And you know what? Hoiberg's kid plays for him. And a lot of times when a coach's son is on the club, you're thinking, just a scrappy kid that give him time. He is scrappy, but he plays. Yeah. He's a factor when he plays for that team. He's really good. So it's fun. And then of course, because of the Deuce is suddenly on the back. He's
back on the Nebraska bandwagon. Funny how that works.
Yeah, he's not really a basketball guy, so he hasn't really paid attention. But suddenly now, all he can say is Nebraska ball. All he cares about is Nebraska ball. That's what we call it, No, they called it that. You just started calling that. He's a fraud. He's worse than his dad. Well, no, nobody's worse than me. We'll break. We'll come back. We got more to get to. 10 to be. You got a keyword, right, for cash and stuff like that? I
sure do, yeah. The fan wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword bank at KFAN.com now for shot to win. The keyword is bank. Enter now at KFAN.com. Join the Common Man this Saturday at Party Barn in Lake Elmo from noon to 2 p.m. Swing by their Pebble Beach Bay for our closest to the pin contest for your shot at a $100 Party Barn gift card. Plus a hole-in-one all day could secure you an Eagle membership. Get the details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Tend to be, if you were to go to Party Barn, would you bring your own clubs?
Of course.
I do too, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've tried using clubs before that are available, and it's not that they're bad clubs. Nobody makes them. Ford doesn't make a bad car. There's not a manufacturer that makes a bad club. But there's something about having that club that's been fit just specifically for your swing. Yours fit, hopefully, to try to prevent a slice. Try to make it with more of a draw on it. That doesn't always work. So I hope to see you there Saturday at Party Barn. I'll be there from noon until 2. Michael Randball writes for Fish Wrap Factory on West Side, does a great job. He's the one that oftentimes has programming predicaments, not sure what to watch because there's so many good sporting events on TV every night. But he writes a piece today. I didn't read it yet. I just saw the head. It just appeared just before we got on the air a couple of hours ago. It said, headline, are the Timberwolves suddenly NBA title contenders? 2 weeks ago, the Wolves stumbled into one of their worst losses in recent memory. Now there's an emerging national narrative about their championship chances. And, here's what, for me, the NBA seems like more than any other sport, but we've seen it happen in hockey, too. For instance, the Wild last year got off to a rip-roaring start and then fell off the face of the earth. This year, they got off to a slow start, and then they're onto a rip-roaring pace. But I think in the NBA, I'll use the Thunder as an example. I mean, they were 22-1 or 23-1, and you were thinking, well, this might be the greatest team ever assembled. They might not ever lose another game. You may as well give them the title now. And then, no, they're still title contenders, but then they went, I don't know what they've done since that 6-6. They had a 6-6 stretch, including losing to the Wolves, and you just go like, well, maybe they're not as good as we thought. You look at the Wolves, and they were doing the same thing this year that they've done in the past, losing to teams they probably should beat. And then some of the teams that are kind of equal, then they're winning some of those and losing some of those, and you were beginning to wonder. I mean, when they were rock bottom is when you had the quote from Ant where he said, well, I guess that's just Minnesota Timberwolves basketball. And now, since then, since Thanksgiving, they've been brilliant. So that's why they probably are title contenders, but I'm exaggerating when I say, or they could miss the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. But you know what I'm saying is like they could do that. I think that's just how the league works. I think that, and I used to think it was just the Wolves that took games off, but I think everybody does. And so I certainly think they're title contenders, but so are 6-7 other teams in the East or in the West, and probably 6-7 other teams in the East, or at least a handful.
I just looked up during the break, and the Knicks are going through a tough time right now. Well, they're 25-15, and every team goes through those kind of mini slumps. So this is right now, I think this is the best stretch of basketball, team basketball I've seen the Wolves play, even almost the last 3 years in terms of the regular season. Where they ratchet things up. But Julius Randle's having a tremendous year, and he's playing at a really high level almost every night.
He's playing better than he's ever played.
He has. I mean, he is. Yes, and it's going to be, I'm saying a 3 or 4 team race as far as positioning, and that doesn't really matter. We've talked about that before. If you finish, OKC, I think is still going to win. They're 34-7. I mean, they got a 6-game lead over Denver, and then there's a logjam with Denver, San Antonio, the Wolves, the Lakers are kind of still in the hunt as well, and it's just a matter of the pecking order at that point. And I don't think there's any of those teams are going, oh my God, we didn't get home court advantage, we're in trouble. No, they feel they can win on the road. But Minnesota has. I think it's a matter. Will they? And I think the trade talk is quieted quite a bit. First of all, I'm not quite sure the resources they have to really trade. What are they going to get for Rob Dillingham if they decide to move on from him? Bones Highland is really kind of seemingly finding his place in this rotation. And Finch isn't afraid to go to him. Whether or not now, based on what happened the other night when Gobert had to sit out the 1-game suspension, if the kid from France, Berger, will get more playing time, I think everyone would like to see it. I mean, he's got some skill, and they'd like to see, especially not just in garbage time, but maybe some other times like he had to the other night against Milwaukee, play a little bit more, because that was the one area we've talked about saying, well, what's the word area? Well, so when Gobert's out of the game, man, their inside defense is vulnerable. Naz Reid is not
anymore.
Not an elite defender.
Not with Beranger.
That's what I'm saying. Will Finch, though, knowing the kid's still got a lot of room.
I don't know why he wouldn't.
Well, I mean, I agree. I mean, I'd like to see him get out there in more critical type minutes.
We lose games we're not supposed to anyway, so what's the difference? We're making postseason.
Let him develop and learn that way. I agree in that context. I think there's going to be more of an internal pressure, and he works hard every day in practice, and Gobert's his mentor, and that's fun. It is. Now they got they got a rougher schedule over the weekend, but the way they won that game against San Antonio the other night, I think was a real impetus to kind of blast off from here.
Did you read the Fish Wrap Factory West Side piece Chris Hine did on Julius Randle, the kind of in-depth story?
I know. I have not read it. I talked to Chris the other night about his book on Ant and everything, but I did not get a chance to read the story.
Tenby and I talked about it on Monday. It's really good. It says NBA veteran, and Tenby, we talked about it in depth on Monday. It says NBA veteran Julius Randle finds an inner peace in his routine with the Timberwolves, and what he's done is He said he gets to the arena now at 4:15. He said he started doing that recently. He says being there early before anybody gets there, being in a quiet arena, I just mentally felt like I was prepared and I was in the game before it even started. I didn't realize that part of it will have a bigger impact. That part of it will have a bigger effect than the actual physical part. So he gets there way early, goes through all of his stretching and such. He says it's one of the coolest, most peaceful things you can do, he said, of the early workouts. You hear the way the ball bounces. You hear the way it goes through the nets. You just hear the crisp, like every single thing. It's like you're in tune in something. You're in tune and becoming one with the arena and everything before you even get out there. So it's weird. It's weird out loud saying it, but it's a connection with the game. He says, every year of my career took a lot of work. Like, if I act like this, or if I'm moody this way, or isolate more, it's just not good. So I can have a better understanding of myself and triggers. I can recognize the situation. I recognize the situation and say what's bothering me rather than just keeping to myself. So he's changed his psychological approach to the game and getting there early, and I think it shows. I mean, last year, and I don't know if he was doing this last year, but if you remember, last year he came back from the injury and he was brilliant. I mean, he was as good as any player on the club. In this year, well, you've seen what he's done this year. He's a much better player, and it goes to show you that sometimes people have to get into a routine that fits them, and he's found his. And Tenneby and I talked about it. Like, when Tenneby coaches hockey or plays, he likes to get there really early. Now I'm not trying to. I'm going to do it, but I'm really not comparing. My comedy routine with Randall's, with his basketball. But I like being at the show early. I like to get there 2 hours before, so I can just be in the club and look around and check the sound and do this and do that. And Randall does these things, and I think it works for him. And whatever works, more power to you.
Well, you can look at the psychological aspect of any pro athlete and what they go through. They have their own routines, but just on the outside looking in, it looks like Julius Randle is so much more at peace with where he's at, how he's grown with his basketball team. I mean, I was at the first game that Randall played with the Wolves last year in Los Angeles against the Lakers, and I'm thinking, oh man, we got Julius Randle and DiVincenzo, and Randall looked so out of sorts that night. I'll never forget it. I was like, man, this is not good. And of course, it was going to take time, and I think the best is yet to come. And the idea that anytime his name would come up in trade talks, even as late of maybe a few weeks ago, I go, not now, and he ain't going anywhere. He does look like a guy that's very much at peace. He loves the area. His family's settled in. They always have shots of his son on the, near the bench on the other side, and he's got his own little routine he does. So I think that's a big part of it. As they say, happy wife, happy life. I mean, I think his family's very much settled in here, and Julius is playing at the highest level of his career right now. The man is a stud.
We'll take a break and we'll come back. We got one more segment to go here on the Grom. Tenneby, Common, and the legendary one, Mark Rosen, here on the Fan.
KFAN welcomes some great shows to Mystic Lake Amphitheater. John Mellencamp.
John Cougar Mellencamp.
We'll be there July 14th. Chris Stapleton.
Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that.
On July 29th and 30th. And Guns N' Roses.
Here comes my girl.
We'll be there on August 8th. Get the complete details on all of our upcoming shows on the concert page at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Just like a refugee. Couple 13-14 pastime comedies. 10 of Mark Rosen here as well. Our final segment of the program. NFC division round, 4 games. Saturday, 3:30, Bills at Broncos. The evening matchup is Seahawks hosting the 49ers. Sunday afternoon, Texans at Patriots at 2, a 5:30 start, Rams at Bears. You like the Bills to beat the Broncos, I think you said.
I do. I like the experience of Josh Allen. Part of it's, I'm not going to say I'm a fan.
You're a softie at heart.
I want to see Josh get there. I mean, I like the team, and I'm not, I don't know. And I don't want to be that guy that Sean Payton still grates on me, but he does.
Josh has got everything going for himself.
Yeah, and this is not he does.
Great quarterback, great big wife. Money. Yeah. He's married. Everything's going his way.
Yeah, but he hasn't got to the big game yet, and I think this is
poor guy.
Well, no, I understand that. I'm not expecting you to feel sorry for him, but I just think that
and you despise Sean Payton.
Well, he's He's a baby.
He's a low-level loser.
Yeah, he kind of is. And the Broncos have been sitting around for a week. I just think that they and the Bills are not as, I think, formidable. Certainly defensively, they got their own weaknesses and they give up a lot of yards. But I like the clutch gene in Josh. I just like this. This is the opportunity he's got to strike. At least get to the next game, as they say. This might be his best opportunity. To answer your question, I picked Buffalo.
Can it be you like the Bills to beat the Broncos too?
I'm in the same camp with Rosen in terms of I would like to see Josh Allen advance. I think he's the best player in football. I don't know if he has enough help around him.
Mm-hmm. The best player in football, even when right now or with the teams right now. Left?
Yeah, just in general. I
thought you thought Patty was.
Yeah, well, they've been declining a little bit over there. But Josh might have less to work with offensively than Mahomes does. The fact that Denver's resting, Denver's got an elite defense. Like I said, and Josh Allen's beat up coming into this game, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
In the last game against Jacksonville, he was tested for concussion.
Right.
He twisted his knee. He hurt his hand. And they're coming off a short rest compared to Denver, and Denver's defense is elite. So I think Buffalo might be in trouble a little bit. The X factor is going to be whether Bo Nix can handle the spotlight or not.
Mm-hmm. I'm about to say something controversial.
That's interesting.
The Bills.
It comes to controversy.
That's interesting.
Are arriving in Denver probably Friday.
Uh-oh.
The Broncos have been there all week.
Resting.
Evening game is 49ers at Seahawks. They split during the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
49ers tend to be brought up in spread swing. They're beat up. I mean, Fred Warner could come back if they meet the AFC Championship game, I guess, or maybe it was the big game. Kittle is as good a tight end as there is in the league. He won't play. They've still been finding ways to win despite the fact they've been an injury-riddled ball club. Seattle is good at defense there is in pro football. They run the ball well. The special teams is terrific. They do everything. And their quarterback has had a great year, but that is still the question everybody has. And, even I, to a certain extent, go, well, he turns the ball over. Nobody's turned the ball over as an individual than Sam Darnold. I think he has 20 turnovers, fumbles and interceptions. So, but I read a story, and it's easy for them to say this, but I tend to believe it, where their coach is his name McDonald. Is that the coach of Seattle?
Yeah.
He said, we don't try to be negative about it, like be careful with the ball. Be careful, because then you get real. You get real. He did the B-Flow quote. He said, we want him to be aggressive without being reckless. We don't want to tell him, we don't want to get him to get paranoid and then not throw the ball because he's worried about turning it over. We just say, go out there, have fun, throw it around the ball field. Just don't be reckless. And I think that's the right strategy. Now, whether he can do it, I don't know. In that San Fran game, he had a couple of throws that could have really sent the team the wrong way, but they didn't. They got away with a couple of throws. There should have been one interception in that game, maybe two. But I like the Seahawks, I think, at home. And because San Francisco, it's hard to bet against Shanahan, and Purdy is so good, and McCaffrey. But I like the Seahawks. How about you guys?
I do, too. I think the Wolves will come out if Darnold has one of those games that reminds people of what's happened in the playoffs before. Not that he's had a lot of experience in there, but, because of the most recent situation and because of his tendency to throw the ball away at times. But as you mentioned, he was clutch when it really counted. Seattle's home field speaks for itself. There's something about the 49ers that, despite all the injuries, they're kind of battle tested, and they seem like they always hang around, and they know how to win games like this. But and Seattle's a big favorite in a game like this, a 7-point favorite. It seems like a lot, even though the 49ers are banged up, coming off the short week, et cetera, et cetera. But I agree. I think Seattle's defense will put Sam Darnold in the best possible position to win that game without having to be the hero. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he could be a game manager, but because he'll make some big throws. But I think their defense is going to be the reason why Seattle advances to the NFC Championship game.
Can it be?
Well, I mean, Seattle's -7, and I took them in spread swing, so obviously I think they're going to win. Like I said, the meeting at the end of the season, Week 18, which was still meaningful for both teams. Christian McCaffrey, up until that point, was just running and scoring points against everybody and got completely shut down in that game. And I think San Francisco their coaching is good enough for them to still beat quality teams, but when you have to face an elite team and those injuries with Bosa and Warner and Kittle, they catch up. And the wide receivers, Pearsall and Ayuk has not played a game this year, so who's Purdy going to throw the ball to? He's going to just go to Jawan Jennings the entire game. They're going to be all in on Christian McCaffrey, and they're going to have to somehow find a different way to beat him. So I'll take Seattle.
Then on Saturday, it's the Texans. Sunday. It's the Texans at the Patriots. And for spread swing purposes, because I wanted to get Rosie going, I just like going against him. I took the Patriots, but I'm a defense wins championships guy, and I'm not going to be shocked if New England wins a game. What are they, 14-2 or whatever? There's a reason they have the record they do, 14-3. But I do think that defense is playing at such a high level. They And like you said, they're as hot as any team in football. They were 0-3 at one point. They only have 5 losses now. They just win football games, and I think they're and I don't think playing on the road makes a difference. I know it does. I mean, there's 3 points that you get, whatever it is, but I just like the Texans. And I know Rosie, you believe the same thing.
Yeah, I do. I just think that you get a team on a roll like this, especially defensively, where they're. And hearing them talk, they're feeding off each other. They're like a bunch of, using the Ozzie Guillen thing, they're a bunch of piranhas out there. And that might be the best tackling secondary I've seen in I don't know how long. Everything about them, when they give up a pass completion, run after yards after catch are pretty much non-existent. And they're facing the best young quarterback in football right now. Drake May's had an MVP type year. So it's a great matchup. C.J. Stroud, I think you can still get a lot more out of him. As I said, he was fumbling the ball around. That was a winnable game for Pittsburgh if they'd been able to do anything offensively. After the first half, they're 7-6 and 10-6. I'm going, what is happening here? And then, of course, they blew it open late, and they got the fumble recovery for a touchdown. I think the Texans offensively will be better this week. And I look for that defense to give Drake May fits and find a way to win that game. They're only New England's 3-point favorites, so technically it'd be an upset, but I like that defense. I like the Texans to advance I hope it's against the Bills, but I like the Texans to advance.
The problem with Houston, which I didn't see until after I made my spread swing selection, is Nico Collins, their best wide receiver, did not practice again today and is not looking encouraging. And
concussion.
They don't have a lot of offensive weapons other than Nico Collins. The receiving core is not great after him. Woody Marks had a good game against Pittsburgh, but still not thought to be a high-end running back.
Right.
So their defense might be so good it doesn't matter, but that is a significant loss for that Houston offense if Collins can't go.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm picking New England. I like New England. I always have. I love the way the kid plays. I think they're a really good spot. And I really like that club. And then the final game, Bears will be hosting the Rams. For me, it's the most interesting game of all of them. It's the one I look forward to. I think that's why they put it last. Well, the reason they put it last is you have the second biggest market against the third biggest market. Rams versus Los Angeles versus Chicago. But the Chicago, I know there are fans. There's some of the one of the sales guys here is Clayton. He's a tried and true Viking guy, so he can't root Lions, Bears, or Packers. I love the Bears story. I just think it's fun. I think they were the woebegone Bears, terrible team, terrible city, terrible fans. Caleb Williams has a terrible year. They get Ben Johnson. All of a sudden, they go from worst to first. They have 7 come-from-behind victories. The Williams kid is really starting to grow into the game. I love the story. I think it's fun to watch.
It is.
And I was telling Deuce, too. I said, when Matty Stafford first left the Lions, I wish nothing but the best for him. I'm not rooting against him, but he's used to be one of us is kind of worn off now. It's been long enough away. I mean, he's got his title and stuff. And if the Rams win, fine. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But I'd like to see the Bears. But that's another good story. Can Stafford win another one? He's 37 years old, and that's
what a year he's had. And
Nakua, he is. Is he the best wide receiver in pro football, or is it Chase or Jefferson? Could you make an argument that Nakua is?
Well,
you could easily make an argument that Puka Nakua is the best receiver.
He's as tough as it comes. Yeah, and Yeah, I love the, I'll make no secret. I love the city of Chicago. I like a lot of what they do. And I have obviously good friends with the Bears, et cetera, et cetera. I'm still picking the Rams to win the game. I just find, I know it's the weather conditions are going to be probably literally kind of in Chicago's favor because of the running game. The Rams can run the ball some too, but there's something about, Matty Stafford and Puka Nacua and what they do offensively. I think the Bears are going to have a hard time keeping up with them. That team can light up the scoreboard no matter what the conditions are. So I'm going to go with the Rams in that one, grudgingly, I guess, because I wouldn't be upset at all if Chicago won the game. But if you're asking me who's picking the winner,
you think the clock's about to strike midnight on that Chicago Bears club? Tenby, how about you?
Probably.
If this was a normal game in better conditions, I would take the LA Rams. But I do think the cold and did you know that Chicago's called the Windy City?
No.
I thought it was the Liberty City.
It's supposed to be in the teens and up to 20-mile-per-hour winds in that game. And like I said, Matthew Stafford has been worse on the road than at home. That defense has been a little leaky from a pass defense standpoint with how many points they gave up to Carolina last week.
Yep.
They're starting to see some cracks here with this LA Rams team, who I thought was the best team coming into the playoffs, just complete overall team. But I think because of the conditions, that's going to change the dynamic of the game, and Matthew Stafford's got a little finger thing going on right now.
He always does.
But I think you're going to be depending more on the running game than you normally would for a playoff game, and I think Chicago's got the better running game.
Do you MVP race? It seems to be, unless you got another name, down to two people, and that would be Stafford and the May kid. I get and I don't know, is that all media voted on, or is there
Well, there's officially,
is there NFL personnel that also votes? There's fans, like an all-star game for baseball, there's a third. Is it all media? The reason I ask is I wonder, in voting for this, if people oftentimes let personal feelings, likes, dislikes, or sentimentality. I think a lot of people really like Matthew Stafford, struggled for all those years in Detroit. Good soldier, played hard, played hurt, was really good, finally gets to escape football purgatory, wins a world championship, and now he's never won an MVP. They said this on the telecast. I think this is what they said. He's never finished in the top 5
That's
in
hard to
MVP
believe.
voting before, and he's had some really good seasons. So my point is, do you think it's one of those things, if you got a vote, I'm not saying you personally, but I just mean a voter goes, yeah, it's good between May and, but Matty's never won one. He's 37 years old and he had a great season. I'm going to give it to him because it's not like I've watched each player.
Just like the Oscars?
I took the words out of my mouth. Giving the award to Denzel Washington for a movie where he was not necessarily the best role he ever played. Correct.
It's not that I watched both players play every single game, and I've documented what they've done. I just kind of think, for me, I guess I think, and again, it's uneducated because I don't watch every game either club. I'd probably give it to May. I
think you bring up a good point, because I think there's some personal feelings that it's impossible not to get in the way, because there might be some writers. I think they vote on all this, Football Writers Association, that say, this might be Matty's last chance at this. Drake May is going to have 10 years ahead of him to, win multiple MVP awards. Let's give it to Matty one more time. Give him not one more time. Let's give it to him this year. So I think it's impossible sometimes, much the way that people vote for Hall of Famers. They can, their personal feelings and prejudices, if you want to call it that word, can influence them in a certain way. And I don't think people can argue that in terms of if Matty Stafford wins it, he's had that kind of a year. But Drake May is right there,
I will say with Drake May, maybe you can't hold his schedule against him because he has nothing to do with the schedule, but the teams Matthew Stafford's playing, Seahawks twice a year, 49ers twice a season, and he was consistently good every game. He didn't have many down moments.
No. But it's a great weekend. It's one of the, I'm saying it's my favorite NFL weekend, the divisional playoffs, because you have the 4 games and you don't.
Mine's third week preseason. That's my favorite week.
Well, my favorite day in sports is the day 3 of the NFL draft.
Well, yeah, and then the next best day is day 2, and then after that it's the first.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I think we'll see some more movement with coaches next week, too, by the end of the week.
Oh, yeah. There'll be plenty of movement.
The Harbaugh domino went down.
Yeah, it did.
Is that official?
I don't know if it's I haven't seen the Giants announce it yet.
But they're still just dotting the I's and crossing the T's on the contract.
Yeah.
Who's the next guy to get a gig, do you think?
Oh, man.
There's a lot of names out there. And then, I don't know how many first-timers, how many, first time for head coach. How many first-timers?
I think Flores is going to get one.
You think so?
It's possible. Yeah.
I think Saleh is going to be the Ravens coach.
Okay.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll save my judgment on that for
why?
No,
you didn't like him in New York because everything's bad in New York?
No, there's other reasons.
Oh.
But we'll see.
Please share.
No, I can't.
Oh.
No, what did he say?
I don't know. He doesn't like Robert Saleh, apparently.
What is it?
If I could say, I would say, but I can't. So I won't. So don't ask me. I'm just saying I'd be surprised. If he gets the head coaching job, kudos.
Wow.
Go for it.
He didn't murder anybody, did he?
That I'm aware of. No. Flores, yeah. I mean, I think, Flores seems like he would fit in with the Pittsburgh organization. They change coaches once every 30 years. So I think he could possibly get that head coaching job. But I still believe that if he doesn't get a head coaching job, that he'll be back here in Minnesota.
All right.
But we shall see. Yeah.
I'm communicating with a lot of different people. This could be some big news.
You're texting Meat Sauce, just ripping Rosen?
Well, I did that.
Why would you do that?
And then I'm also a salesperson asking about, it's always, if it's not one thing, it's another. These are urgent things.
Meat Sauce. He does listen, so I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's got, sitting home with Louis. He's got, Louis probably taking a nap and he's got something to do. So.
He's so committed to the station that he's actually hiring a babysitter so he can play password tomorrow.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
What a guy.
At 1:43, he sent a text when you were talking about Houston. He goes, Rosen has never seen Houston play.
Yeah, right.
I bet you haven't watched him play once this year.
I watched the entire game last week.
You did? Oh, okay.
That's why I said against the Steelers, I had him in spread swing. That's why I wanted him to win 30-6. Yes, I've watched him play. Sauce gets caught up in that whole...
Hilarious. Rosie trying to act important like you know something about Robert Saleh.
I'm not trying to act important.
Sounds like you are to me. Here's another one. Keep digging. Why doesn't Rosie like Saleh? What is it about Saleh? Look at, he's stone-faced now. People want to know. People love
I'm going to start taking his approach, though, where I bring up people's names and why I don't like them, but then I can't talk about it. I can't say it. To act like I'm in the know, but...
Yeah.
You think that's what I'm doing?
I don't like Sauce.
You think, seriously, do you think that's what I'm doing?
Bring up Jim Schwartz as a possible candidate to be head coach somewhere.
I think Jim Schwartz could be, but I can't say who.
Yeah, I've heard some things about him.
Have you?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it, though.
Okay.
But I've heard things. But I can't say.
Well, good for you. I'm happy for you.
See how plugged in I am?
Look at Rosie's little trick. Say something, refuse to give evidence, claiming it's top secret.
Well, look, sometimes you get information and it's the same type of thing with reporters were talking about with something with Viking related. You don't have to, you can't, sometimes you just can't say it. You can't go past your sources. That's
Remember,
all.
Rosie has behind the scenes info from the Jets organization. Do tell. Let's go, Rosie. Leave a bombshell for Bump. Just throw it out there. Say something.
I just did. And it's not like he's a big name in terms of
he's big.
The NFL coaching circle. And he very well might get the head coaching job. I don't know. Maybe they'll give it to him.
Rosen's not as confident on Flores as he was yesterday.
About what?
About he's going to be back with the Vikings.
What did I say that's different?
You did word it a little differently.
I said if he does... Wait, no, I did not. I said if he does not get a head coaching job, I said I believe he'll be back with Minnesota.
I believe.
Well, I'm not signing his contract, but I think that's...
Have you seen his contract?
No, I have not seen his contract.
I mean, could have just been lying on your kitchen table.
Probably, but I won't. No, it's on the computer.
All right. Oh, right.
I don't see it.
You're something. Hey, it's always good to see you.
Yeah, you have a really good weekend.
Well, I hope to see you. You're going to be at Party Barn and join me, right?
I can't wait.
Well, you went to one barn. Why don't you go to another? I'll see you on Tuesday at 2 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Teneby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed our visit with you today. We're back tomorrow 12 noon, and we've got meat sauce and
Mr. Fun.
Mr.
Joe
Fun
Anderson.
for Program Password. That'll be at 1:30. Little be at 1. Enjoy the rest of your day. Big Ticket JGR next.
Wherever you are.
I'm a fraud.
Yes.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.